Hey, welcome guys. Welcome to another video. This is JC Diaz with JC Diaz Uncensored. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I hope everybody's enjoying with their families. So I was thinking about this, guys. I've been thinking about this question that came up the other day. I believe it was a congressman. He submitted proposing that a law proposing that only U.S. born citizens can run for public office, whether it is working for the city or working for the legislative branch of the government. Congress, Senate, any public office. Um, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on this, my take on this subject, right? But let's go ahead and start the show, and I'll be right back after the show.
Do you agree that only U.S.-born citizens should be eligible for public office? Yes or nope? Ready, go.
So I have a bill that says you cannot serve in Congress if you're a dual citizen. Think about it. When you're a citizen of a country, you take an oath of allegiance to that country. How can you serve in the government of the United States if you've pledged allegiance to another country? So it wouldn't preclude you from being an American, but it would say you can't be in Congress. Now, if you're currently a dual citizen and you want to burn the citizenship of that other country, then you can, but dual citizens should not serve in Congress. And our research finds that particularly many Democrats are dual citizens of the country that they immigrated from. Well, you want to be an American? Great, then burn that passport. But you shouldn't be able to be in Congress if you want to be a dual citizen as well.
Hey, we are back. We are back with you guys. All right, so let's get into it. So the question is, should only U.S. born citizens be allowed to run for office, for public office in the United States, whether it is, working for the city, your local city, or working for any part of the legislative branch, which is, Congress, Senate, any public office. I'm going to give you my take on this. And I know that I'm probably going to have a lot of negative feedback about this, but I honestly believe that the times that we are living in right now, and with all the negative sentiment about the US that's going on, I think we should pass a law that does not allow naturalized born citizens to run for public office. I believe that only US citizens who are born in the country should be allowed to run for office. And I'm going to explain to you why. This has been a discussion going on this year, and there are so many variables and so many things that can go wrong when you allow a person who has dual citizenship to run for office, and especially when they come from a country that has been known for not liking the U.S. I think it's a definitely a deep subject to talk about. I'm gonna tell you that I know people personally. I know people who are in government. They are naturalized citizens, and these people spend more time in their country of origin than they do here in the U.S. Now, when you pass a law and only US born citizens are allowed to run for office, that would mean more security, less influence from foreign governments, and also less possibility of that person who runs for office being influenced by a foreign government to act against the United States. Um, I know people that literally use, once they get a position in the government, right? Once they get voted in, they use that influence, that position, they go back to their country and use that position as leverage to gain access to riches and more stuff and more convenient stuff in their country, back in their country of origin, right? And I'm gonna tell you this: I'm a naturalized citizen. I'm a naturalized citizen, but I love this country. I chose to become a U.S. citizen. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the Constitution. And my loyalty is to this country, not any other country, not any other country. If it became law that we had to actually get rid of our dual citizenship and we will have to choose, I would choose to stay here. I would choose to stay a U.S. citizen. This is my country. This is the country that has given me everything I have. And my pledge is to this country. I will never pledge to any other country other than this country. And I believe by having someone running, being in office, somebody who is not a U.S. born citizen, what this is doing is opening up a door or a can of worms that could actually work against our country. And I know, it's really nice to run for an office when you are, a citizen. But honestly, I believe it will be better to have only U.S. born citizens run for office, and that has worked, and I don't see a negative thing about it. I know that there are so many people who say, what about our communities who are represented by these people, people who came from another countries like me, and we want people who look like us being in Congress and being in the Senate. um to that, I will say, if you became a U.S. citizen, you owe your allegiance to the United States of America. You don't owe your allegiance to any other country, so you shouldn't have a problem with a U.S. born citizen being in power and being, for example, in Congress, in the Senate, even in the office, even in a city office like a counselor and positions like that, they should be run by people who were U.S. born citizens. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is there should be terms for, just the same way there are terms for the president, 2 terms, there should be terms for the Senate and congressmen, and also people who work for the city. There should be 2 terms. Everybody should be allowed only 2 terms to run for Senate, to be a congressman or congresswoman, to be a counselor for a city, to be anything that has to do with government. You should be allowed, you should be a US born citizen, and you should be allowed 2 terms. And I'm going to explain to you why. People fall in love with power. And once they fall in love with that power, it is really, really hard to let it go. And we have senators that have been in power for 40 years, 30 years, 50 years. And what have they done for our communities? Nothing. They literally get voted in every year, and they enrich themselves. They fill their pockets with a lot of money, and they don't do anything for the constituency. Same thing for people who work for the city. They stay there for years and years and years, and their communities never change. They don't bring any change to anything. They don't bring anything. Now, the other thing that I definitely think it should happen is, if you are, because we haven't changed that law, right? If you are a naturalized citizen and you are running for a position in government, you should not be allowed to give speeches in another language other than English. And with that, I'm not saying that you should only speak English. What I'm saying is, let's say that you are Latino and you are of Latino descent, right? If you have a large community that is Latino and a lot of them speak Spanish and English, you should use a translator to translate into Spanish for those people. But the first language that should be spoken as a person in power, you should be speaking in English. And the reason why I'm saying this is because English is the most spoken language here. Even though we don't have an official language, but English is the most popular language that we all speak in this country. I know that there are over 40 to 50 million people who speak other languages in this country, but the main language everybody speaks here is English. I know I'm going to get a lot of negative feedback about this, but this is something I've been thinking about for a few days now. I believe people who are born in the US, for example, my son, me, I should not be allowed to run for any office, any public office, any. And I pledge allegiance to this country. I love my country. I love my country. Now, if there is a law that is passed that says you have to choose one citizenship, then I will choose the US always. This is my country and I love my country. Now, only US born citizens should be allowed to run for public offices. For example, my son, if he wanted to run for office, he was born and raised in the US. I was born in Dominican Republic and became a US citizen by choice and became a US citizen. But he was born and raised here. He should be allowed to run for office. I just think that this will save us a lot of headaches. It will save us a lot of complications. It will save us, probably somebody being influenced by foreign governments. It will save us people taking advantage of the office they're holding or the position they're holding here in the US government to go to their countries, back to their countries of origin, and take advantage of that and get leverage to meet people over there and take advantage and become rich and take most of their money, take it back to their country of origin. If we want this country to be great, we need to all focus on America first. That's what I call America first. And I don't know, guys. I just thought that I would make this video. I know I'm gonna get a lot of negative feedback about this, but I actually believe that's how it should be. I think that the United States for the longest time has been so flexible, which is there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, because if it wasn't because the United States was flexible, I probably wouldn't be here. But I chose to become a US citizen and I love this country. But the United States has been always flexible in allowing people to run for office. And a lot of these people are people who don't have the best interest of the United States. They use that position to enrich themselves, and they use that position as leverage to go back into their countries, or the countries of origin, and gain leverage and gain riches in their countries. I know I'm gonna get a lot of negative feedback about this, but it is something that I agree that if you come to the United States and you decided to come and live here in the United States, your allegiance should be to the United States. Don't come here talking bad about the United States. Don't come here talking about how bad this country is. This country is the greatest country in the world. Do we have bad things that we need to fix? Absolutely. But our allegiance should be to the United States of America, not to any other country as a US citizen. So I hope you guys like that. If you guys like this video, hit like, share, and subscribe. My name is JC Diaz with JC Diaz Uncensored. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. See you later. Peace.